Okay. Well, as always, thank you so much for joining me. This is our second class in our Yoga for Running series, and this class is going to be a yoga flow. So we'll be moving seamlessly between postures throughout. As always, move at your own breath's pace and choose the variations that feel best for you. So we're actually going to start this in a standing position. This is going to be a really standing focused flow. So come to a comfortable stance. Now, this can be, if you prefer to sit, by all means, go for it. If you feel okay standing, I like to have my feet about hips width distance apart. And that way you have a nice supported base under your hips. But if you want to go a little wider, feel free. Or if you like being more narrow, as always, what's most comfortable for you. When you're ready, place your left hand on your heart and your right hand on your belly. And if you feel comfortable to do so, close your eyes. If that makes you feel a little uneasy or unbalanced, just go ahead and have a soft gaze forward and try to soften your eyelids. Notice if you start to sway in any direction, that's totally fine. Just try to keep moving yourself back toward the center. Take a deep breath in through the nose and exhale, sigh it out. Feel the shoulders relax away from the ears. Take another longer, deeper inhale through the nose and forcibly exhale everything out. Try to release everything from the lungs. And then take your largest, fullest, deepest breath yet. Try to fill your lungs to their max capacity. Pause when you reach the top. Hold it for a breath. And forcibly exhale everything out. And then turn your focus inward. Trying to remove any distracting noises or thoughts that might be trying to enter into your mind. It's okay if they do, that's all right. Just notice that they're there, and then gently turn your attention back towards the breath. Notice how it feels entering both nostrils. Notice how as it enters, it expands your chest cavity all the way down to your belly. I invite you to take this opportunity to set an intention for our class today. If there's anything that you are trying to work towards or work on, or perhaps you just want to give yourself some relaxation, some patience, some forgiveness, or maybe you just want to stretch. Just in case nothing is coming to mind, I do have an affirmation to offer you for today. I trust the intelligence within me. I trust the intelligence within me. Think about how that lands for you. And how does that apply to our yoga practice? Perhaps it could mean trusting, listening to your own body and knowing when to back off or when to push a little deeper. It also can apply to your running. Perhaps you know you need to take a pause and slow down, or perhaps you just need to give it a little bit more gas to get you to the finish line. How can you trust your own inner intelligence? When you're ready, begin to bring your awareness back to the room. Take a slightly deeper inhale through the nose. And exhale, soften through the shoulders. Gently open your eyes and release your hands down to your side. And just Shake everything out. Give yourself some movement. Inhale, reach your arms to the sky. Exhale, gentle back bend, cactus the arms, lift the chest, maybe push the hips a little forward. Just slowly warming up the spine. Inhale, rise. Exhale, gentle back bend once again. Inhale, rise. Exhale, gentle fold. Slowly roll your chin down to your chest, bending, curving through the spine, and rolling yourself all the way down to the floor. Hands on the floor, knees bent as much as they feel comfortable. Beautiful. Inhale, slowly roll yourself back up. Slow, slow, slow. Stacking shoulders over hips, hips over knees. Inhale, bring the hands all the way up. Exhale, gentle back bend, lift the chest. Inhale, rise. Let's do that one more time. Tuck the chin, roll the body down. Bending through the vertebrae, reaching down through the fingertips, bending the knees as soon and as much as you need. Holding for a moment, relaxing the back of the legs. Exhale here. Inhale, halfway lift. Long, strong spine, press palms to shins. Exhale, fold. Inhale, roll yourself all the way up. Nice and slow, stacking one by one until your head's last to lift. Arms come with us. One more gentle back bend. And hands come up. And then bring your hands down to your hips. So to prepare for our flow, we'll prepare as if we would for a run. So some things that you might want to do before a run are to roll out your ankles to make sure that you have a nice strong base before while you're running and you don't accidentally roll an ankle when you hit an uneven surface. So what we're going to do is keep your feet hips width distance apart. Lift all 10 toes up off the mat and then slowly lower them down one at a time as much as you can. I know that's hard. It feels a little weird if you haven't never done that before. And then allow your toes to connect to the mat and become an extension of your foot, because they are, to really help you balance. Then place your weight in your left foot and start to lift your right foot off the mat. Now, if you feel comfortable to balance on your left foot, you'll be doing that in a moment. If not, be sure to grab something to help you balance. Lift your right foot up off the mat and just give yourself some nice ankle rotations. This simple stretch, either before yoga or before a run, sometimes even before a walk, if you're clumsy like me, can really help prevent injury. Go both directions, so switch if you haven't already. Beautiful. And then place that right foot down. Plug those toes back into your mat. Place your weight over your right foot, rooting down through the right ankle into the right whole base of the foot, and then start to lift your left foot up. And just once again, roll those ankles out both directions, starting one direction and then switching the direction. Beautiful. Keeping your hands on your hips for some additional stability, or holding on to something next to you if that feels better. Beautiful. Next, we're going to warm up our calves and our ankles. So let's start by doing just one calf raise or heel raise at a time. So again, you'll alternate which foot you're going to place your weight into as we are doing this exercise. So place your weight into your right foot, lift your left heel off the mat, keeping your hands on your hips for stability, and then switch. Right foot down, left heel up, alternating. Noticing a little activity in the calves when you do that. Perhaps you notice a little bit of a stretching along the bottom of the foot. That's where I feel it. And now you can continue to take turns, alternating one side at a time, or I invite you to go to the next step, and again, you can hold on to something if this is stressing your balance. We're going to try both heel raises at a time. So coming up to your tippy toes, see if you can hold it for a second. Notice how the ankles wobble a little bit, and then slowly lower those heels down. Again, hold on to something if it helps. Lifting up. If you can try to avoid holding on to something, that would be great, because that's going to help you build those little tiny muscles within the ankle and the foot to get better at this over time. But I don't want you to fall and hurt yourself, so make sure you have something nearby. Alrighty, let's do that 2 more times. Lift all the way up. See if you can hold it. Notice if you shift. That's okay. That's part of the process. Lower down. Last time. And again, if it just doesn't feel comfortable to do both, you're always welcome to just alternate. Beautiful. Now we have all feet, or both feet flat on the mat again. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold the hips, leading with the chest, swan diving down, bending the knees when needed, and relaxing the head and neck. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hands to heart center. So building on from the ground up, working on a little bit more of our balance. Take your right foot and step it toward the top of your mat. Place your weight into your right foot, and then slowly begin to lift your left knee up. So if it doesn't feel comfortable to lift it too high, you can keep just the toes on the mat, or again, if you have something handy, feel free to use that as a tool. You can always have your hands on your hips to help the stability there. Lift up the left knee. Foot can be flexed or pointed, whichever helps you balance. And then slowly bending the right knee, start to shift your left foot behind you. Maybe pausing in a warrior 3 for a moment, and then slowly with control, stepping that left foot down into a high lunge. Stack your shoulders over hips. Notice the back foot and heel are still lifted. Beautiful. Now, once you're in your high lunge, find some stability for a moment here. So notice how this helps you, how this feels in regards to balancing. Are you shifting one way or the other, forward or back? It helps to widen the stance. So if you imagine your feet are on railroad tracks, you can widen the tracks that your feet are on to give yourself a little more stability. But notice how this feels in the back of your left calf, your left ankle and foot. If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, you can even step the left foot back even more. Try to keep that right foot stacked over the front ankle, holding in your high lunge here. Beautiful. Slightly step in so both feet can be flat on the mat. And we're going to go into pyramid pose. Straighten both legs, hands are still at your hips. Pulling your right hip back, left foot hip forward so they stay in a one level line. Shift your shoulders forward, nice long strong spine, finding pyramid pose. Now if you have really tight backs of the legs like I do, you're probably not going to go very far, like I'm not. If you're a little more flexible, perhaps you can get your chest parallel to the mat. That's okay, whichever level you are, that's fine. Just embrace it and notice where you're feeling it. You feel this along the back of the legs, both legs, whole side, the whole length of both legs. Beautiful. Slowly come on up. Pivot both feet so they face the side of your mat, and then bring both feet into one straight line, finding wide leg forward fold. So bring your feet out a little bit. Now with wide leg forward fold, we're going to pinch and toes our feet just a little bit. So have your toes a little bit further in, heels a little bit further out. If you like to have blocks for this pose, feel free to use them. Keeping your hands at your hips, shifting the hips back as you shift the shoulders forward, bending at the hips, bringing your hands down to the mat. So a couple options here, always option to bend the knees if that feels a little better along the back of the legs, back of the spine, or put blocks under your hands if that helps
to bring the floor a little bit closer to your hands. Holding along the back of the legs here, breathing inward. Beautiful. Bend the left knee, come into a side lunge. So walk your hands over towards your left foot. Now you can keep the hips lifted like this and feel a nice stretch along the inside of your right leg. Or maybe you want to bring your hips a little bit further down. Whichever level feels good, go ahead and find it and stay there. Feeling a nice stretch along the inside of that right leg. Beautiful. Slowly reversing back out the way we came. So come back to your wide leg forward fold, pausing right there in the middle. Bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, rise all the way up. Pivot both toes toward the top of your mat again. Let's enjoy pyramid pose one more time on this side. All 10 toes pointing to the top of your mat. Feet are on railroad tracks. Both heels are down. Bending at the hips, shifting the shoulders forward and down, pulling that right hip back, feeling a nice stretch along the back of your right leg primarily. Beautiful. Inhale, come all the way up. Bend that front knee, lift that back heel, find your high lunge. Option to keep hands on your hips. Maybe you lift one arm, maybe lift both arms if that feels good. Noticing how this tests your balance. Beautiful. Bring your hands back down to your hips. Shift your shoulders over your front knee. Start to lift your back foot. You can always take as many steps as you need to. Maybe pause in your warrior three for a moment. And then come back to your stork pose, lifting that left knee nice and high. Shoulders stacked over hips. Holding for a breath. And exhale, release. Beautiful. Go ahead and roll out that left ankle. Roll out that right ankle. Give those ankles a break. And then we'll try that on the other side. So bringing your weight into your left foot. Slowly lifting up your right knee, coming into stork pose. Allowing your hands to be wherever helps you balance the most. Either the hips, maybe hands together at your chest. Find the hand variation that makes you feel most stable. Slowly bend that left knee. Begin to shift your right foot behind you. Maybe pause in a warrior three for a moment. And then slowly with control, land that right foot down. Back heel is still lifted, finding your high lunge. Notice if you're swaying, adjust your stance as necessary. Maybe widen the feet, maybe bring them closer together. And when you're ready, lift your right arm up. And if you feel comfortable, lift that left arm up. Squeeze in that low belly, lengthen that low back. Beautiful. Take a little step in so you can plant both feet flat on the mat, straighten both legs, coming into pyramid pose, shifting the hips back, shoulder and chest reach forward, coming down just as much as you need it. You don't need to go too far unless you're more flexible, then you can go a little deeper than I am, that's okay. Try to pull that left hip back so it stays in line with the right. Squeezing that belly in, nice long strong spine. Beautiful. Slowly come all the way up. Pivot your feet to the other side of your mat. Or if you want to still see me and I want to still see you, we'll just go this way again. That's fine. Coming into our wide leg forward fold. So feet are parallel. Toes are a little bit more in than the heels, slightly pigeon-toed. When you're ready, hinge at the hips, lead with the chest, nice long strong back, and relax the fingers down whenever you're ready. Or use blocks. Noticing how this feels the second time around. Beautiful. Slowly bend that right knee. Coming into your side lunge, walk your hands over towards your right foot. Now, again, you can keep those hips lifted or even lower them down over that right ankle. Feeling a nice stretch along the inner left leg. Beautiful. Inhale, coming back through center, wide leg, forward fold. Holding for a breath here. Bringing your hands to your hips with a long, strong spine. Lift all the way back up. Pivot your toes back to the top of your mat. Or if you turn directions like I did, maybe the other side, whichever works for you. Let's get back to our pyramid pose. Left foot forward, right foot back. Both legs are nice and long. Hips are aligned. Shift the shoulders forward. Find that long, strong pyramid pose. I tell you, this is not one of my favorite poses because I have such tight back of the legs, but it's very helpful, especially if you're running, to lengthen out and stretch out all sides of your legs. Slowly inhale as you come back up, coming into our high lunge. Bend that front knee, lift the back heel, maybe take a step back if you can. Find your stable base, lift your right arm high, maybe your left arm high. Squeeze that low belly in, lengthen through the low back. Holding here, feeling a nice good stretch. Hands to your hips, shift the shoulders forward, place the weight into your left foot, and then start to lift your right foot off the mat. Maybe pausing in that warrior three if you can. Slowly swinging that right knee forward and all the way back up to stork pose. Holding for a breath here and coming all the way down. Beautiful. All right, take another moment to roll out those ankles. They're doing a lot of work today. Beautiful. Okay, one more balancing pose that we're gonna try on both sides, and that is our favorite tree pose. So now that our feet and ankles are so warmed up, let's let them try balancing one more time. Place your weight in your right foot. Now you can keep your left foot toes on the ground as a little kickstand. Try to open up that left knee toward the side. Keep the hips nice and level. Try not to let one hip go too high up. And allow those toes on the right foot to really root down into the mat like a tree. Bring your hands to your hips or your chest, whichever helps you balance the best. And if this feels a little easy, maybe you want to challenge yourself a little more. Start to lift that left foot up to the inner calf. Now, if you really feel flexible and want to go for it, you can bring your foot all the way up to the inner thigh. I'm actually not quite there anymore. But if you do that, just make sure you're all the way above the knee. You completely clear the knee and you're not putting any pressure on the inside of the knee. Wherever you are, notice that friction between your foot and your leg. If you fall out, that's okay. Just get back in. Try to press the bottom of your foot into the side of your leg and equally your leg back into your foot. Those opposing forces will help you balance. Let's hold this for one more breath here. And exhale, release. Slowly bring your left foot down. Let's roll out that right ankle. Beautiful. Opposite side. Left foot down, right foot's either at a kickstand. Nice long, strong leg, rooting down through the toes, all four corners of your foot. Shoulders stacked over the hips. Maybe lifted up to the calf. Or if you're feeling it, all the way up to that inner thigh. Find your level. Focus on those opposing forces. Notice if one side balances a little easier than the other. That's totally normal. Feel those ankles building muscle control as you hold it and wobble. It's okay. Hold it for one more breath here. And slowly with control, bring that right foot down. Let's roll out that ankle and the other ankle. Beautiful. For our final posture, we're gonna get deep into the ankles and the hips. Open your feet nice and wide. Slowly bending the knees, we're gonna come down into Malasana squat. So bring your hands down. You may notice that your feet adjust as you get into this to find the right width for them. Lower your hips down as much as you can. Now, if this feels really uncomfortable to have your hips this low on their own, you have the option of adding a block. You can place that underneath of you. That might give you a nice little bit of support. So always using the tools that we have. Find your Malasana. So it's a very deep squat. So you're sinking your hips as low as you can. Your heels very well may lift off the mat. That is totally normal. When you find your base, lift the chest. Try to stack your shoulders up over the hips. Bring your hands to your chest. This is going to work those ankles even more. Hold it for one more breath here. And then when you're ready, come all the way down to your bum. Come all the way down to a seat. You have earned it. It's been a pretty active, slow standing class. Come down to an easy pose, either seated on your sit bones or if you prefer, sit on a block. Bring your soles of your feet together. Allow your knees to open wide. Sit nice and tall through the chest. Butterfly pose. Shift the shoulders forward. Inhale, come all the way back. Find easy pose once again. Maybe alternate which leg is forward in your cross. And then let's come back to our breath. Option to close your eyes here. Inhale, reach your hands up to the sky. Bring your palms together and lower your thumbs in front of your chest. Inhale. Come back to your intention. Come back to your breath. Beautiful. And in closing, take one more deep inhale through the nose. If you prefer to have your final resting position be laying flat on your back in Shavasana, you are welcome to find that position now. I'm going to close us out in a seated pose, but I want you to feel comfortable in whichever pose feels best for you. When you get there, take a deep inhale through the nose. Pressing your thumbs into your chest. May we look inward for validation and acceptance. Inhale, draw your thumbs to your lips. May we speak words of truth, kindness, and encouragement. Inhale, draw your thumbs to your third eye center. May we be the change we wish to see in this world. Take a deep inhale to fill yourself with love and light. And exhale to share that with the world. Namaste.